Hello, welcome to Career Talk. My name is Reed. We are at Mid-State Concrete here with Mike. Can you tell us where we are right now?
Hi, we're at Mid-State Concrete Industries here in South Beloit. This is our wet cast hall where we make wall panels, solid slabs. We also make beams and columns. All right, so this particular bed 13, is where we're making the risers for stadium.
So we're here on site at Mid-State. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing for the stadium project and other things that you guys do?
So right now at bed 13, we're building the risers for stadium. And we also make beams, columns, solid slabs, balconies, and wall panels in this wet cast hall.
Can you tell us a little bit about the company's history?
So Mid-State's Concrete Industries was formed in 1946. We're third generation run. So we make wall panels, solid slabs, beams, columns, balconies. We also have another hall that we make hollow core in, which is the floor system.
What are some of the different jobs that you guys have here on your sites?
So we do a lot of what we call podium, beam, column, and plank. We do senior housing, schools, gymnasiums. We do everything from small house jobs all the way to multi-floor apartment buildings.
So I know you're saying things like slab and stuff like that. Can you explain to us what those are and where they might be used?
So a beam and a column would be basically a column you'd see in a building. A beam would be on that column to support hollow core plank that you actually walk on in the building. So you could actually drive on some of this. We also make the walls. So Lincoln Academy or 100 Grand here in Beloit. Those walls, those are our product. So we made those here, we produced them here, and then we shipped them on site and erected them with our own erection crews.
All right, so you're a CIO. What does that mean exactly?
So I'm the Chief Information Officer, so I make sure all our information is coherent through the whole company.
Are you from this area originally, or did you?
Yeah, I'm from Milton, Wisconsin, so I'm from this area. I've always lived in southern Wisconsin my whole life.
Can you explain to us what the guys are doing right here?
So eventually on this bed, there's some form work. We're going to pour concrete in here. Concrete is great in compression, but it's not very good in tension. So they're pulling strand right now, which is actually going to be pulled tight. And then once the concrete's cured, we'll cut it, and that'll keep everything in good in compression as well as tension.
Hi, can you tell us your name and job title?
My name is Chris Olson. I'm the production manager here at Mid-States. Been doing that for about 4 years now.
Can you tell us how you got to this position?
So about 26 years ago, my grandpa that worked here for 40 years hired me, and I was the assistant cleanup guy for probably 2 years. And from there, worked my way up into production, into a forklift, ended up being a foreman for quite a few years. Worked my way into manager, supervisor basically, and then into the production manager position. Yeah, so been a while.
So working your way up, was there any education that you had to go through to get to that higher step?
No, I really didn't have to go back to school for that. A lot of it was just on the job training.
When you first started, were you thinking this was going to be a long-term thing, or were you thinking it was just going to be a couple summers?
There was a point to where I was pretty sure I was only going to last a couple years. And as you grow and start working hard and start seeing them paychecks and kind of like that, just kept working hard and worked my way up.
At what point did you decide that you wanted this to be a longer-term job?
I think when I moved out in the yard and got into a fork truck. At that point there, I could see a foreman in future, being a foreman in the future, and I really enjoyed it out there. So, I really pushed hard for that.
What exactly was your job when you first started here?
When I first started here, we were making a wet cast hollow core called Flexicore in our other building. We don't currently make that anymore. But at that, when I started there, at the guys that were working lunch break, there's quite a bit of mess every day. So at noon, I would go in there and shovel all that up. It would take me probably about a half an hour. I could get about half of it done just to make it tolerable. And then they were usually done around 2:30, and then I would spend another 4 hours just shoveling for the rest of the day. Shoveling up just waste concrete on the floor, cleaning.
So can you tell us again what your job is and what it is now and compared to what you were doing originally?
So now I'm the production manager. Responsibilities, I've got 4 supervisors that work under me. The yard, we've got wet cast, we've got the Elomatic, stripping supervisors, night shift pouring supervisors. So my job is to give them the tools they need to do their jobs, help them get in front of things, try to find innovative opportunities, whether it be form work, the process change, those kind of things to keep things moving. We're a pretty tight-knit team, so everybody's got each other's backs, and I couldn't be happier with the team we have.
Can you tell us any advice that you might have for anyone wanting to go into a manufacturing job like this?
So some of the advice I give the newer guys that start here is that it sounds a little brass, but you're not going to outsmart anybody on the floor when you start that position, but what you can do is you can outwork them, and by just being whatever task they give you, do it as best you can, work hard, outwork those guys. If you outwork them, they'll respect you, and they'll give you more advice. They'll want to teach you, they'll show you things, but by outworking them every day, you're really going to go a long way.
So I know you said your grandfather got you the job, but is there something else that made you want the job or got you to be able to do it?
So kind of, my grandpa was basically doing what I'm doing now back then. I know they were looking for people, so he offered me a position, and I came on. That's basically how that came on. It's a legacy kind of thing for my family. My dad was working here then, my grandpa, my grandma, all working here then. So I came on. My grandpa worked here for 40 years. My dad worked here for 26 years. And they both retired. My grandma also, I think she had 15 years. And then I've been here for 26. And hopefully retiring in quite a few years from now. But
thank you for your time, and I understand we have one more person coming to talk to us.
Patrick, their bed foreman, will be coming over. I'll call him on the radio for you. Hey, Patrick. Hey, you think you can come over here a minute?
Good thing.
Hi, can you tell us your name and job title?
My name is Patrick Yates. I'm a foreman here at Mid-States Concrete.
Can you tell us the specifics of what the guys are doing here right now?
Right now we're building the ledges for baseball stadium, and right now we're pulling cable through there, and then after we pull the cable we're going to be stressing it at roughly 30,000 pounds, and then there's chucks at each end which will hold that pressure inside that cable, and it'll provide elasticity in the panels.
What are we seeing coming in with the crane right now?
This is our rebar reinforcement. It's going to go in the areas that don't have cable. It's going to add structural integrity and prevent from cracking or any damaging.
So I know you said they were pulling cable down there, but can you explain other things that we might be seeing?
Yeah, down at the end here, every one of these wooden pieces is called a bulkhead, and every bulkhead is set, and then it's got a hole drilled out to where each cable is going to pass directly straight through that, and each piece is going to be the same. And then at the end of each bed, there's a thing called a drillage, and you put the cable in there, and it's got the same corresponding holes from the measurement from our side of our bed, so that way when we pull it, it doesn't move any of the bulkheads, and everything stays square.
How does the stadium project compare to other ones that you've done?
This one is really unique. I've never made panels that are like this. Usually I'm used to making insulated with foam insulation in the middle, and it's kind of unique to see, what the people are going to be sitting on and stuff like that. And this job compared to other jobs, I don't think I've ever seen anything with 2 rows of the solid slabs in there. We have before, but not this much. So this is a definite big job for Mid-States.
What are some things that you look for in the slabs to make sure that they're made correctly?
Well, the first thing I do, I make sure that everything is squared, so that way each bulkhead is not, sitting like a parallelogram. It's got to be square. And after that, my guys will come by and silicone everything to make sure no concrete gets underneath those rails or the bulkheads. And we really have to be really detailed in that to make sure that it's quality and it comes out looking like, really good. We don't want it to have chips and cracks in it. Any defects in the side of the rails or anything, we patch them up or we'll take and remove that wood and put a new piece of wood on it, so where it'll be a brand new piece of wood. We want to make it finish and the quality to the highest standard that we can here, and QC makes sure we do that.
So what we're looking at, these are pretty big and I'm guessing pretty heavy. How do you guys move these around?
Well, we insert what's called lifters, and they're coil lifters. So it'll have like a little, almost like a spring, and it'll have grooves to where you can insert a bolt into it that can carry up to like 3 tons. And each one of these, I think, is not even a ton, maybe like 5,000, 6,000 pounds. So it's not the heaviest that we've had. We've definitely had a lot heavier pieces, but the lifters are rated to lift twice the amount that they can lift. So if anything bad happens, it'll hold, you know.
Yeah. How did you get into this position that you have?
Well, I started doing construction, and I was doing roofing, and it wasn't really steady work. And I came here off of a temp agency, and a year and a half later, I was promoted to foreman. So I just kind of took it, and I have a lot of passion for what I do, because, you know, it feels good to see, you know, like this, especially when you go into the baseball stadium, it's going to be there for a long time, you know, and I can tell my kids, you know, I built that. Same thing with Hananiga, the sports facility, building that and driving past it, so it makes you feel really good inside. So that's what keeps me here.
And how long have you been doing this?
This is my 4th year. 4 years. I've been a foreman for 3 years. And yeah, it's really fulfilling. It's tough work, but anything that's tough in life, you know, at the end of the day, when you sit back and look at it, you're a lot more proud of yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Tucker. That's the Tucker, by the way. That brings in the concrete, moves it over, dumps it in each panel. And they test the batches too to make sure that it's to the standard and it doesn't, you know, separate too much, and it'll hold and won't crack, you know, when it cures.
Do you have any advice for anyone that would be wanting to come into a job like this?
Probably the biggest thing would be to learn how to read a tape measure, because I've seen some guys come in here that don't really know a tape measure too good, and that's kind of like the bread and butter. If you know how to read a tape measure, you know, because we're cutting a lot of wood, we're measuring out things that you have to be within 1/8 of an inch sometimes. So that's probably one of the most important things, learning how to read a tape measure, and also being able to work with others and being able, because we have a lot of different personalities here, and not everybody's the same. Some people have bad days, so you have to kind of know how to work with that and kind of go with the flow and have a little thick skin, if you will.
So was there any kind of education that you needed to get to this position?
I would say I was pretty proficient in algebra, and that helps me out a lot. Just adding up, or saying, like, say you have a plate that's 1 foot or 2 foot 2 away from another plate, but it doesn't tell you that it's 2 foot 2 from another plate, but you can add in the different measurements in there and do the math in your head to kind of find the value for X. So I would say algebra is a really important aspect in this. Also geometry is another one, but I hated geometry because you know, when we're making the panel square, you have to have this bulkhead square to this bulkhead, and if it's out of square, a lot of times, you know, in geometry they'll teach you it's not square because this angle is incongruent to this angle. I never really got that, but now I'm starting to see why. If I would have paid attention more in geometry, it would have helped out a lot more with squaring the panels. Oh no. Yeah, and you can buy a house. You can buy a house. You can buy, you know, everything you need for your family. You don't need a college degree at all. I mean, I just bought a house in 3 years working here, and I got cars. I just had 2 kids. You know, I mean, and we're in the middle of a pandemic too, and thank God that we can still be working and be building these things, because I see a lot of people out there that are struggling, and I would never want to be in that position or have my family be in that position. So I'm really fortunate, and you know, you don't even need a college degree to maintain a healthy lifestyle and have a good education for your kids and everything.
From what you're saying, you need to understand or focus in math, learn to read tape measure, and just be a hard worker, correct? Is there anything else that you might need?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, experience comes with the job, so once you get here, a lot of it's just picking it up as you go. And I try to do my best to, if you don't know anything, I'll try to work with you to try to figure it out, because that way you can help me out later on and I don't have to do that.
So I remember a couple times in class thinking, oh, why do I need to know this if I can just have a calculator with me? Can you tell us why it's important to know why you don't, or why it works if you don't have a calculator?
Well, here you won't have a calculator. I mean, you can sometimes maybe pull out a calculator if we have them sitting in woodshop, but you kind of have to go off of your knowledge. So you have to know if something is put at this measurement and it's 3 inches off the rail, you have to add that and factor that in without a calculator. And some things you can't type into a calculator on here. There's some things that we run into, issues that we have where we're putting a piece of rebar in a spot that it's interfering with a plate or something like that, where you have to move it or bend the bar, and a calculator won't be able to tell you that. You have to kind of do it how it goes. You know, you kind of have to make it work.
Are you looking forward to coming to a game?
Absolutely. I can't wait to see these erected and maybe show my kids, step on one of them. I know they won't be as enthusiastic as I will about it, but it's definitely going to give me a good feeling.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for watching. If you have any other questions, you can contact CareerTalk or Midstone Concrete. Mid-State.
There we go. Shake it off.